The Coolavokig ambush, also known as the ambush at Ballyvourney and Poulnabro ambush, was carried out by the Cork.1st Brigade on 25 February 1921, during the Irish War of Independence. It took place at Ballyvourney village, County Cork. 1st Cork Brigade under Seán O'Hegarty laid in wait for a unit of the Auxiliary Division under Major Seafield Grant, who was one of the casualties. Preparations. The Irish column had been attempting to ambush the auxiliaries for 2 weeks but had always missed them. As they occupied the ambush position over a few days, the position became known and a force of 70 auxiliaries and 7 Rick constables moved against them, heavily armed with rifles, machine guns and grenades. The 62 Irish gunmen included units from the 1st, 7th, and 8th Battalions of the 1st Cork Brigade, and was divided into 4 sections. Apart from Seán O'Hegarty, the main Irish officers were Dan Sando O'Donovan and Dan Corkery. The Irish was armed with 60 rifles, several shotguns and revolvers, and 2 Lewis guns, but significantly no grenades. The British forces, travelling in 8 lorries and 2 cars, also carried 4 Irish hostages with them. Battle. Around 8 a.m. on 25 February, scouts signalled the approach of the British force. They were forewarned about the Irish position, however, and approached with caution, when a Republican leaving his post turned to run back, and was seen from the leading lorry. When half of the lorries came into the ambush position, the Irish opened fire. According to Encosentois, 1 lorry immediately turned around, speeding back to Macroom. Rifles and a Lewis machine gun from No. 1 section engaged fire, and 10 rifles from No. 4 section were the only Republican units that had a field of fire on the lorries as they dropped to the ground to avoid return fire. Sections No. 2 and No. 3 of the Cork Brigade swung around to the east on a hillside in an attempt to encircle the British northern flank, but they could get no closer than 500 yards. The auxiliaries were quickly losing ground and taking casualties. Major Grant was killed while rallying his forces. The British forces retreated into 2 nearby cottages. The Irish closed in, and as they were preparing to bomb the cottages, large numbers of Rick reinforcements approached and began encircling the area. After fighting a half-hour rear-guard action, the flying column retreated towards the northwest. The engagement at Coolavokig lasted 4 hours. Aftermath. It later transpired that the auxiliary forces were just part of a large roundup operation planned for the day, which included 600 British Army troops from Cork, Ballincollig, Bandon, Clonakilty, Skibbereen, Bantry, Dunmanway, Millstreet, Macroom, and Killarney. After the ambush, British forces ceased raiding and patrolling the area west of Macroom, effectively handing it over to Irish control. They were reluctant to enter the area, and only did so later with a strong force of 2,000 men. The Irish suffered no casualties. However, the number of British casualties has been disputed to this day. The British claimed that only Major James Seafield Grant was killed during the ambush, and that 2 other auxiliaries later died of the wounds. The Irish claimed that between 14 and 16 members of the British force were killed.